Hi, I am Monica Brant, one of the world's first true fitness pioneers starting back in 1991. I helped launch the fitness industry while traveling internationally, meeting fans worldwide to share my style of fitness to the bodybuilding community. After a decade of fitness competitions, I earned one of the world's most prestigious titles, the IFBB Fitness Olympia Championships. Moving into the new millennium, I was the first IFBB Fitness Olympia athlete to transition into the new professional figure division and compete for close to another 20 years. After 15 years as an IFBB professional, I tried another organization and won the WBFF World Pro Figure Championships both 2010 and 2013. I am a true athlete and made my way into racing into the Masters USATF sprint events, placing top 3 at the World's Masters track meet in all 3 events, the 100, 200, and 400 meter races. Besides athletics, I have been honored with over 100 magazine covers both nationally and internationally. Since it's always a blessing to share with others, over the last 15 years, I've hosted women's fitness events and worked with clients, helping them discover how to live radiantly in all areas of life, body, mind, soul, and spirit. The Monica Brant Show is one of the ways I am honoring the legendary athletes, powerhouse individuals, and nutrition gurus that have laid a strong foundation in the past, help keep the current industry flowing, and offer inspiration to the next generations. All right, Gina, we're back, girl.
Yes, we're back.
Oh my goodness. Take a deep breath and sit back.
Okay, we're grounded and recentered.
I know, and it was so hard not to visit with you too much because, I wanted to talk to you about stuff, but I wanted to wait. So when our viewers come back on and when people are doing the replay, they'll be able to hear all the good stuff. So we are running behind, but we're still going to take time because I want to, as long as you still have the time, I guess I should ask you, you still good on time?
I'm good. Kids aren't here. So as soon as it gets crazy, that's my alarm, but so far so good. So let's run with it.
Awesome. Well, we'll have Kona come back in and merge the two so we can kind of pick up what we talked about previously. But since we're coming back on live, I want to just throw out those 2 questions, a giveaway for our sponsors tonight. Thank you for the sponsors. The first giveaway question, you guys, the first one to get the correct answer right. So please put it in the comment section. Don't message me privately because I won't get those. You put it in the comment section. The first question is, what year did Gina win the Arnold Figure International? Woo! And then second question for Legendary Foods prize giveaway is, what is the name of Gina's new fitness app? I almost said it, so I won't say it. But so anyways.
Good job.
Thank you. So you guys can Google those answers and come back in. The first one to win those, we'll get those awards, and we'll say them at the end of our time here together. So Gina, I want to start off with just share a little bit about your background. Like, where did you grow up, and what were you, an athlete? How did you get into fitness, figure, and what led you into this?
So I grew up in Monterey, California, and my father got me involved in the sport, but rewinding a little bit, he was a bodybuilder, and he was getting into bodybuilding once my parents got divorced, and I used to see him work out, and so I got on board with him, and he was teaching me in the living room little dumbbell workouts. And actually, before I would go to school, he'd put me through a little dumbbell circuit, and I'd go off to school. And fast forward, I played sports in high school, field hockey and softball. So I was an athlete, gymnast starting off, but then basically just was really into field hockey and softball. Softball was my sport. And then when I went away to college, I didn't have the time for team sports, obviously. So I just kind of started working out again and just kind of focusing on what I could do with my limited time going to college. And my dad called me one day and said, "Hey, G, there's this new sport called figure, and I would love for you to do a show with me." And I actually was in Italy at the time when I got the phone call. I was in Italy with my Nona. And I didn't really want to do, I wasn't sure what figure was. I was just thinking bodybuilding, and coming from a space of being more muscular, the thought of bodybuilding was not something I was interested in. And he said, "No, it's this new thing called figure. It's really just appreciating those that have muscle, and it's all about symmetry." And so we did our first show together. I was 19 years old, and we both won our class. There was only 2 people in my class, but that's all it took.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to know those details. But that was all that it took for me to kind of I just loved it. I felt like I was being appreciated for having the muscle, and it didn't hurt that my dad was right there with me, but that's all it took. And then from there I started competing in the NPC, and I just fell in love. And then from there, that's went from there to pro, and that's the story.
So what year was that first show for you? I know you were 19, but what year?
Gosh, I have to do the math. Was that 2013? I mean, 2003, I believe. Gosh, I have to do the math. When was that? I turned. 2000. I'm thinking about first of all, I'm thinking about the answer to your to one of the questions, which I don't want to throw out there. So it had to be before that. So 2003. Yeah, ish. Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, that makes sense.
I always remember 19. I was 19 years old, and then turned pro at 21, which was really cool. I dieted through my 21st birthday. That was fun.
Well, probably kept you safer anyways.
Yeah.
Hey, we have something else in common besides the fact of figure and curly hair and muscular build. Do you want to know what it is?
What is that, Monica?
My first show in 1991 only had 2 girls as well.
And you won.
It was in fitness. Yep. And I would say that, I'm like, there were 2 girls on stage, me and one other girl. And, I won the class.
Yeah, there you go. That's all
right?
That it takes. When you win, you win.
Right. But, here's the thing is we still had to do the work. You still had to get on stage. You still had to perform and come in and do your water and all the things that it takes, right? So
right. And I think the thing also was that the girl that I was competing against was a stick. And so I think for me, because growing up, I was always insecure, just having more muscle and just a bigger build. And so seeing her with this stick figure and then to win over her gave me that confidence in my body, So it was, it was just a really cool experience. And then doing it with my dad.
Absolutely. That's so cool. Are you still close to your dad now?
Very close. And then my mom had a nutrition store. So I grew up just in a real health conscious family, and always had a love for fitness and then nutrition.
Wow, that's super cool. Like, you had some really great information from your parents moving into this industry, which a lot of people don't have any support from family, and their families are like, "What are you doing? You're starving yourself," and they're giving them a hard time. So that's really awesome that you had that kind of support. I love it.
Yeah.
How long did your dad compete after that, or was he doing that just for you?
He just did a few shows for fun. And then he stopped, and now I'm always like, "Dad, you got to get back on just one more time, be in the 70s category. I think it'd be fun, but who knows if he'll ever will."
Is he still in good shape?
He's in great shape. He's had a couple health issues, but actually the health issues have come from him. He was always eating healthy, and then he kind of fell off the bandwagon, such as life, and he ended up having some heart issues, but he's good now, and he's healthy, and he's happy, so he's in a really good space.
That's awesome. And what about the nutrition store? How long did that last, or is it still around?
No, so he didn't have the store. That was my mom's store. She had a store when she was 19, and then so she was just a young girl when she had it. That was in Tahoe.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's so cool. What was the store name?
Strawberry Fields.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, we have something else in common.
Uh-oh, what now?
My company's called Strawberry Fitness.
Oh my gosh, how funny, Monica.
Strawberry Field. That's not, she doesn't have anything to do with the strawberry wine, right?
No.
The old song. Strawberry. Oh, that's so fun. I love it. And I love that your dad's probably so proud of you and seeing where you've gone with this whole fitness craze, figure craze, what do you want to call it? Physique craze. And, you've done such a good job with it and really have made it a career for yourself. And I think that's commendable. And I love that that's become a lifestyle for you. It's not just, for the shows. And there were so many people that just got on stage and they just wanted to get in shape for the summer to be on stage. And then after that, they just, go off the wagon. But every time I've known you, you've always just, you look the same even now. Like you look like you get on stage right now if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm, you're sweet. It really is just a lifestyle for me. And I try to be that example now for my kids, because I do feel like the more that they can just be around it, the more that it'll just become a lifestyle, not something that is forced upon them. But yeah, it's funny. My dad makes appearances now, and my mom as well, doing a squat challenge, and they're always a part of the videos and doing things. So it's fun. It's a fun experience for us to have.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so tell me a little bit about softball. You played through school, and then what happened with softball?
So I never got a scholarship. I didn't play beyond high school.
Okay.
I could catch a ball, but I could not throw a ball. And still to this day, David wants to play catch with me, and I'm just like, I cannot guarantee that ball is going to make it in the glove, but we'll play.
Well, so you had to be able to hit the ball too, right?
I was a good hitter and a good catcher, but when it came to aim, that was not my specialty.
So you could catch and you could hit, but you couldn't throw it.
Oh, yeah, the aim just was not there.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I just couldn't do any of it. When I was in grade school, I had my eye doctor write a note to my teacher saying, do not make Monica play softball, because I would just close my eyes and cry, because I wore those big Coke bottle glasses and I had a lazy eye, and it was just like everything wrong about having something come at me. And of course,
my goodness.
I would cry. I would just, if I knew softball was like the thing to play, I would just be in tears. And then no one would pick me because I was so bad at it.
Oh, Monica. Well,
I know, right?
You deserve to be the star.
Thank you. All right, we'll keep telling that story, but it's true. But that's not what it is. But awesome. Okay, so let's talk about your family, because you're married now. And how long have you been married?
So we just had our 10-year anniversary, actually, just when we got the shutdown back in March. We've been married 10 years. It's crazy. Yeah, he asked me to marry him actually after the Arnold. We always did something fun after I would compete. He'd set up a fun little trip, which was like a good thing to look forward to after the shows. And we went to New York, and he asked me to marry him there. And so now 10 years later, it's crazy. And then I have 2 kids. My son, David, is 7.5. And my daughter, Nicolette, is 5.5.
That's so awesome. And tell me, what does Mike do? Because he's in the industry a bit, right?
Yeah. So he's a fireman. Well, he's a fireman, so they're all,
Okay.
He stays in shape. And he does some work for Legendary Foods as well. But yeah, he's in great shape, but just not interested in the bodybuilding, more CrossFit and,
okay,
well-rounded fitness.
So he wasn't necessarily in the industry as somebody within our kind of network and associations and all of that. He did his own thing. What did he think about the industry, like with the competitions? Was he excited about it? Was he just kind of like going with you through it and like, hey, we'll get through this? How did he?
Yeah, he was a huge support, and he was always there for me, helped with whatever I needed. he loved watching the hard work that goes into the show prep, and just really was just loved seeing that part of it. But after becoming runner-up at the Olympia 3 times in a row, just kind of taking a step back and wanting to shift gears, we both kind of made the decision. Well, I made the decision, but it was time to start the family and to get married. And so at that point, it was time for us to shift gears and go in a different direction. But he's always been my biggest cheerleader, which is really cool that he's been there from the beginning.
Absolutely. I love that. So I know that there's a lot of couples that end up having issues within the industry when one's competing and one's not. So maybe as a wife, and looking back as someone that was walking through the shows at the very, very high level, obviously at the Olympia is the pinnacle of all shows across the board, across all industries, across all organizations and the world. If you had a female come up to you who says, I need to get my husband or my boyfriend to support what I'm doing, how would you advise this female? Because I know that that's a big part of it is finding out how to get that support from your loved ones, because it's such a sacrifice, right? Like, it's a sacrifice on everyone that's involved, not just the competitor, but anyone that's involved in that person's life. They've got to understand. So what advice would you give that person?
Your timing could not have been more perfect, because before we had the little technology issues, do you remember me talking to you about our conversation backstage at the Arnold? And
yes.
So let's get back to that, because this is perfect. So I remember, when I think about you, Monica, I truly remember this conversation like it was yesterday. And I don't remember like a ton of conversations the way I remember this one, but I remember it was in the back at the Arnold. I felt like we were in a school or something, that the stage is out there with all the lights and all the fun. And we were all back there, rather than like worried about what our suits looks like or what our bodies look like. We were deep into conversation about this topic and about relationships. And I remember you brought up a book that it's one of my favorite books, and it's The 5 Love Languages. So it's ironic that you just said that. We must have been talking about this conversation.
Yeah.
And, so that's exactly, I would recommend that book, because I just think that we all have different languages, just like we all have different non-negotiables that we have to set for ourselves. And it's really learning what those languages are, our personal language, and then with our husbands or our significant others. And if we can learn what's important to them and what they need, whether it's quality time. I know that's Michael's big one, is quality time. Hence why, it made sense that I retired when I did, because I knew that I couldn't give him the amount of time that was needed, because, when you're competing, it's really, you got to be all there, and that quality time tends to go down. So I would really recommend that book. And I would just say it's really important that you learn what the other person's language is, and make sure that you're stepping up to meet that language, just like you would expect them to meet your language. And that's how it works.
Okay. I am a person who easily gets teary-eyed, and you just made me choke up, and I feel like I can't even talk right now. Like,
yeah, this is real stuff. I love it.
I always ask God to give me words that mean something to somebody, whether it's a quick conversation or a lengthy conversation. I want to edify others. I want to bless others with my words. I don't want to pull people down. We have sometimes one word conversations, or even sometimes just an expression off our face that either changes someone's day or life. Yeah. And sometimes it's a conversation. And I just am so honored that you shared that with me, that that meant something to you and that you still remembered. So Kona just told me we can't use any of our previous conversation from the live that we started earlier. So in case someone just joining us and wondering, why is Monica getting all teary-eyed? For you to remind me of that conversation we had backstage. And I remember so many times, so many different conversations with I'll say the new girls. Cause again, I've been on stage since 91, I was 1995 Fitness Olympia. So I've been backstage at Fitness Olympia and then the Figure Olympia. And I know that my goal in the backstage was really just about trying to get to know the new people coming up and invest in their lives. If there was a conversation that I could have that would bless someone else, that would minister to someone at the exact need, or exact moment that they needed it. And for you to just share that just really brings me all back around of that God answers those prayers when we ask for them, and when we truly want to take care of others and invest in other people's lives. And I just really appreciate you sharing that story. And I'm so thankful, because I know without a doubt that who you are, you've been able to share that book with other people. Like, I know that you're not someone that's going to just sit on that book and not tell someone else about it. So who knows how many people you've mentioned that to that you probably don't even remember that you've shared that with.
Right.
And that will hear this right now and be like, what book was that? And it's the 5 Basic Love Languages by Gary Chapman. I believe his last name is Chapman.
That's it. That's right, Monica. Yeah, it's so true, because, so often we're doing things because we're sharing our love for somebody in a certain way, like cleaning their dishes, when they could care less whether you clean their dishes or not. All they want is quality time or 5 minutes of a conversation. And so I think that when you really understand somebody's love language, it can really help change your relationship. And this isn't just for a spouse. This is for your friends, your coworkers, and it really does just roll over into every area.
I just love this, and it's so cool, because I always say that I got in this industry, and fitness has always been the thing about the industry. But at the heart and soul of what I do and what I feel like, where God's put me, is really about using this as an opportunity to bless other people's life in a much bigger place. And, just to know that that was such a big place for you and what it's done for you. And then knowing that I know you've shared that with others, and you've probably talked to your kids about it in some form or fashion. And they're learning from you and your husband's experience walking through that, and how to bless each other and how to love each other in a way that they feel it. I mean, that's everything. That's so everything.
I actually think my girlfriend was telling me, I think there's there's a kid version that I need to get, because
yes, there is.
Okay. Yeah. I need to get that book. But yeah, no, Monica, that seed that you planted has definitely grown, because, even with the tribe, my GFit community now, it's like everything that I go deeper than the body, like we were saying. And that's why I think it resonates with me, is that we're here at the Arnold, and we're glitz and glammed. And it's like, we were just so in deep, this conversation. But it really does. It's transpired into my teachings, and setting up your non-negotiables, and really being able to give somebody else what they need in that moment. So from the languages of love to even the other day, I do a mantra every Monday. And so I'm really big on the mindset. And so one way I'm helping people get through this is helping them, coaching them through their mind. It's all about how we see things and how we perceive things. And one of the mantras was the power's in the palm. And when I wasn't able to go swimming, I've been hitting the road, doing my cardio. And it was just amazing how when somebody runs by you or walks by you, how you just throw up your hand, and it's this crazy connection and energy that's just transmitted, just like what you said, how you never know how that throwing up your palm just to say, hey, good job, you're getting out, you're getting sunlight, can completely change somebody's day or make them feel worth it. And so the same idea of that seed that you planted for me, we can plant those seeds every day in our lives by just throwing up our hand or communicating with somebody on a even nonverbal level.
Right. One of I'm a big, I don't want to say spiritual, but I'm about a relationship with the Lord. And there's a scripture that is so beautiful to me I grew up in, my family kind of taught me that tattoos were kind of like the bad seed, or, if you got a tattoo, maybe you're on the edge, kind of these things. And I have the scripture in mind that it talks about that God has, and it says, written our names in the palm of his hand. And, if it's written his name, it doesn't come off. So to me, that sounds like tattoo.
Right.
If he's written our names, and he's big enough, God, that he can write everyone's name in the palm of his hand. Everyone, whatever nationality or culture or however you want to word it nowadays, right? We're all the human race, but he's written our names in the palm of his hand, and he knows every one of us. And everything that we do as humans, because we're made in the likeness of God, comes from God. And people don't want to sometimes admit that, but for you to talk about the palm of your hand and how that, is inspiring to others, and just, trying to shorten what you just said, Oh, it's so beautiful because that's what God's done for us. He's put us in the palm of his hand, and he says we're the apple of his eye, and all these things that are in scripture. And it's just awesome. And I just love being able to see the fruits of labor come to fruition. And you said you planted, I planted a seed. The harvest is in you, girl.
Yeah, thanks, Monica. No, I just love that. And yeah, I think right now, especially with the time that we're in, I feel like the more that we can connect with people, whether it's just with a palm or, I had this, one of the other mantras was the 3 C's of Corona, and the 3 that I'm right. The just connection's one of those things. Connection. I'm trying to help people see the beauty that's coming out of this. I know that's hard for people to imagine, but I feel like there is so much beauty that's coming out of this time. And one of those is this connection. I mean, my connection with you and just connecting with other people. People are getting more connected through different means, but that connection is huge right now. And then creativity. I feel like people are getting really creative with their jobs and things that they're doing, and having to figure it out, just like we had to figure out our technology issue,
our connection issue.
Right, exactly. And then the other one was collective. I feel like it's really right now. It's really powerful to know that you're not alone going through whatever it is that you're going through. And I just feel like more than ever right now, the more we can connect and just share the good vibes is just so important. And that's our way of giving back.
Oh, yes, that's wonderful. That is really beautiful. And I'm going to come back with this scripture because I think it's important for people to hear. And it's kind of been a little journey for me over the last couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. But it's Hebrews 10, 23, 24, and 25. And God talks that it says that we are not, first of all, we're supposed to hold on to the hope that we profess unswervingly. It says, hold on unswervingly to the hope we profess. So we need to challenge ourselves in our hope. And what do we profess? Like, we've got to have some kind of voice. We can't just sit here and be mute, right? And especially somebody like yourself or myself who has a platform, has people that maybe look up to us, want to hear what we have to say. And it's very important that we hold on to the hope that we profess. So we profess our hope. And what is our hope based in, right? So that's the first part of it. And then the second scripture says that we need to continue meeting together.
Yes.
It literally says that. It's Hebrews 25:24. And then it says to spur one another on in love and good deeds. And this is in the NLV, the New Living Translation, NLT. But King James is very similar. It says we need to continue to spur, and the word spur, which is interesting because we have a horse business, right? My husband
was thinking about that.
Spur one another on, but spur one another on in love and good deeds. And love is through God, and good deeds, we want to do that because we want to take care of other people, but it's all through what God calls us to do. And at the very end, it says because the day is near, the day with the big D. So I just think that those are really important verses to recognize and take hold of and plant in our heart so that we can speak those things. And it sounds like that's what you're doing. You're talking about being connected, and that's exactly, you're obeying what God's scripture is right there.
I wrote those down. That's beautiful. Yeah, I'm very, I've taken the beautiful thing about competing is it's allowed me to have the platform to be able to get out to more people. And, through the GFit tribe and even through my app, I just focus a lot on the mindset and all of this stuff that goes beyond the diet, that goes beyond the training, because that's really where you cultivate, the seeds, and that's really where it all begins. And so I'm just so big on that. And I just love that.
I do too. It's really fun to visit with you about all this. So I want to hear about your training, because I know when we were talking yesterday at the airport, when I was at the airport anyways, you were talking about how you're training and kind of what your mindset is. So if you will share a little bit about, well, not a little bit, however much you want to share about how you're training right now, walking through this time of our life, this chapter of the world that we're all dealing with, and then how that's kind of related to you all along anyways.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting how now since having kids, I've just turned everything back to my roots. Those mini workouts I was doing with my dad, I started doing them all at home. And so I was doing all home workouts, And now 8 years later, I do only home workouts. So this transition for me has been actually pretty seamless. I just continue doing exactly what I've been doing for 8 years. And the approach has really been more of a less is more approach. My G-Fit circuits are quick. They're to the point. They get the job done. You get a killer workout and maximize that time that we don't have, especially as a mom of two and running multiple businesses. It's time is definitely something that we all lack. And so I've just continued on with my less is more approach with my training. And I do one-on-one trainings. I have now the G-Fit app, which I had an online platform before, but now having the app just makes it so much more user-friendly for them just to hit play. We work out together, we connect, share recipes, just all lifestyle. And I'm also currently working on a G-Fit Academy, which is really exciting. I'm really excited about that. Basically putting all the pieces of my training together in an easy to follow system that can help people, no matter where they are in life, to stay aligned and to reach those goals.
Wow, that's awesome. How long did it take you to build this app?
So the app has kind of been in making for 8 years, pretty much, because all of the videos that I've been doing, I've been recording. I have videos with my pregnant and then with David and with Nicolette. You can really see the journey. So I've been collecting these videos now for 8 years, and I kind of just put them all together in this beautiful platform. And so you just kind of see the evolution, and it really helps inspire people also to see that it doesn't matter where you are, that this lifestyle is just consistency. You just, wherever you are, whether you're pregnant or you have one kid or multiple kids or no kids, wherever you are in life or whatever happens, you just have to continue on with your efforts. And that's really, to me, the secret to success is that consistency.
Right. I agree. Consistency for sure. So how was your, just kind of circling back, how was the training you did for competition different than the training you're doing now?
So for competition, obviously it was a lot more cardio, 2 hours of cardio a day, which would, get more and more as the day got closer. And the training was heavy because I always had that juggle, or the struggle, I should say, of my upper body matching my lower body with powerful, strong legs. Yes. I always was told, you've got to put on more size, you've got to put on shoulders. And what did that mean? It meant I had to really push the weight. Mm-hmm. So I was training pretty heavy for upper body and then light lower body work. And I really had to push the weights. And to be honest with you, lifting heavy weights, I know it's really, a lot of girls love that, but it never has been my thing. And so when I transitioned out of competing, I just got back into the circuit training, and that was getting back into what I loved, and also realizing that I didn't need to train a certain way to look a certain way for somebody else. I get to do what I want to do for my body and what feels good. Mm-hmm. And also the time factor, not having a lot of time. It was just kind of a perfect blend of not having time, getting back to circuit training. And so now, how has it changed? I have cut the time in, I do like 30 minutes and that's it. I cut the time in more than half. And I do all very light weights. I focus on mind muscle connection. And I think my heaviest dumbbell is a 15. And you'll always see me with either 8s or 10s. Those are my numbers. And a lot of body weight movement. So it's changed quite a bit.
I love it. So would you, because I'm sure there's somebody out there going, okay, what is, in your opinion, the exercise that helped you, say, build shoulders the most? Because you had to catch up. So let's say, what was your best exercise for shoulders and for back, just to give some people something to go to?
So shoulder presses all day long. Presses.
Any particular hand, like neutral, palms out, because there's a little difference there, and just regular standing shoulder presses, or sitting, or what? Okay,
so I have a whole ebook on this because I love shoulders.
Perfect.
I'm big on change. I'm big on rotations. I'm big on pulses. So shoulder presses and side laterals are my two favorites, but there's 10 million ways you can do each of those by how you rotate your palm at the top, how, the tempo, reps and pulses and full and explosion. And I also do a lot of seated or kneeling so that you can put all the emphasis in the body part you're working versus those powerful legs kicking into gear if you're standing and you're using some of the lower body.
Right.
So I think that's a really important tip too, is to just, either sit or kneel so that you can focus on that body part that you're working. And if you're trying to work the shoulders, it's all shoulder work.
I love it. I know for me, I was always wanting to stay, I guess, on my feet as much as possible to stay athletic and, use more muscle group. But I have to say that there was one shoulder exercise that I absolutely love, and it's sitting on the ground like an L sit and one arm at a time. Like, it's so concentrated, and you have to use your core to hold yourself up, and your legs have to be like as straight as possible. And it's so crazy hard. And then it makes people, and I've done those in the years ago when I was doing sprinting and I was lifting heavier, and of course then throwing in some of the, competitions at the same time. But I remember there'd be times when there'd be some bodybuilder people, kind of guys, come up to me like, what does that do? What does that do? And I'm like, oh, try it. Because, they're over there lifting all these heavy weights, and then they sit down on the ground on their butt with their feet out in front of them. And they tried, and they were like, oh my gosh, I can't lift that. And it really shows you how much you really can lift.
Thank you for reminding me of that one. I actually have not done that one. I don't think you'll see an L-sit shoulder press in my app, so I'll have to do that one. Girls, look out.
Yep. It's so good. It's so good. And I know when you get heavier and you got to have that extra little spot for it. But okay, what about back? What would be your go-to back exercise?
I loved the leaning forward lat pull downs. And again, really focusing on that mind muscle connection, because, you want to make that V taper. And so bringing the lats out, but I see so many people that aren't engaging their lats. So when I was one-on-one training, I was able to really kind of put use my hands to really stimulate the lats and get them to engage. And then once you can do that, you have the leaning lat pull downs with the straight arm really can target the lats perfectly.
Right. It's such an important piece to have that good coach. It really makes a difference. And I love hearing that, because it really is important. What about, because you have some of the best glutes in the industry, girl. What about glutes?
Glutes squat challenge.
Speaking of.
Right. So I'm really big. Almost all my workouts incorporate squats, unless we're doing upper body. I do have upper body back focus, but with the style of training that I do, a lot of it is full body circuit. So we do a lot of squats. And again, I have 95 variations that we're doing right now in my squat challenge. So it's not just your typical up and down squat. There's all sorts of squats to hit the glutes in various different ways. So I love squats. I love, hip thrusts are always another great favorite as well.
Oh yes. So I want to ask you about the hip thruster. I want to and then we're going to go to rapid fire and take a short commercial break, and we'll come right back. So don't anyone go anywhere. But before we do rapid fire, tell me on the hip thrusters. I know that it's important to try to get those hips up and create that line, level line. But what do you tell the people that just can't get the hips lifted because of some inflexibilities in their hip, and they really struggle with that? Are there any tips, modifications that you can share that might, because I think for people, if they can't get their hips up and have that solid line, they feel like they're, failing at that exercise.
Well, I don't believe that there's failing. I mean, even if you're doing half thrust, you're still working the glutes and hamstrings. But I'm really big on stretching, Monica, and yoga. So that's the other thing that's really changed since competing, is I dedicate a whole Wednesday is the yoga day in the app, or stretching and whatnot. But I would really emphasize those people to do more stretching. What people don't like to do, right, is slow down, but to slow down and start to really stretch and use the foam roller, because if you're feeling tightness, your body's not going to respond the same as if things are loose and you can fully engage those muscles. So I would say just keep at it, but more than anything, really look at your stretching routine and how, your flexibility, because that'll really help with your training.
I love it. Flexibility, mobility, all of that good stuff. So, okay. So what we're going to do is come to my questions. I got to find them first. I wrote these fun questions down. I've got 10 of them.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I know. So, okay, I'm not real good at this because, I talk a little slower and I'm a communication person. So I love communicating, but we're going to try and go through fast. So it's just super fun questions, just to hear your personality and just whatever comes to mind first. Okay.
Okay, go.
Okay. When eating, super simple stuff. When eating out, what type of restaurant do you choose?
Am I eating clean or am I eating refuel?
Oh, we'll go with the refuel.
Okay, pizza all day. Thin crust pizza.
Ooh, and okay, I'll just add, I know it's not part of the rapid fire question, but what do you like on it?
Oh, you believe it or not, fun fact, I don't like protein on my pizza. So I just like a thin crust with cheese and lots of vegetables.
Oh, I would get along great with you on the pizza
and
thing
red
too.
pepper flakes.
Yes, girl. Okay, gold or silver jewelry?
Oh, gold.
All day long. Okay. All right. Who is more of the disciplinarian, you or Mike?
Oh, good question. It depends on what it is. I would have to say, it depends on what it is. I would say we're pretty equal. When it comes to cleaning, I'm the disciplinarian. When it comes to structure, he's more the disciplinarian.
Ah, that's good. That's good. Not just one of you. So they can't go, well, mom said or dad said.
No, it's a good blend.
That's great. I love it. Okay. So outside of me and your own physique, who was your favorite female physique in the industry? Either bodybuilding, physique, anything.
Oh gosh, you know what? That's a really good question because I really tried not to.
Just like
It was always my own game. I would say, I love Valerie Wagerman, believe it or not.
Yes.
I love that long but
Yes.
curvy, but just she had this elegance about her. I love like a dancer's kind of body, less bulk. So I loved her.
Hey, I'm going to be right there with you. I agree. I mean, there's some physiques that you're just drawn to looking at, and you're like, wow, that's just so pretty. And I'm all day long looking at muscular builds, whether it's a horse or a dog or a bull. Like, I just love muscle. I think it's so cool. And when it's blended really well and it's pretty lines, it's really fascinating. Okay, so what is your most used supplement of all times?
Fish oils.
Fish oil. There you go. Okay. Which child most resembles you?
My daughter Nicolette. Personality-wise, look-wise, my son David.
Cute. Okay, so your husband's in trouble then.
Yeah.
Okay, if you went dancing with Mike, would you choose salsa, country, or dirty dancing? And you have to choose one.
Country.
Okay, good. Like country all day long.
we love country. Salsa's fun, and I think the dirty dancing would be super fun. But the music, we've been on this country kick, so I'm going for country.
Okay, that's good. Okay, when it comes to holidays, which family do you typically go to, or is it a mix?
It's a mix. I think, especially because my parents are divorced, so we really try to balance it out. So it's a good mix.
Okay, good. All right. As a judge, which when we come back after the break, I want to talk to you about being an NPC judge. As a judge, would you place higher a great physique with somebody with you can tell has no confidence, or an okay, decent physique that has a lot of confidence in a good way, not like cocky, but a good confidence?
Classy confidence all day.
All right, cool. All right. And then, this one's from my husband. Have you ever been told you look like a celebrity, and if so, who?
Oh my gosh, yes. I don't see it, but you know who I've been told I look like? Minnie Driver.
Minnie Driver.
I do not. It has been a couple times, and I'm like, I do not see that at all. But okay.
So my husband, he was checking it out, and he wrote down Haley Dunphy off Modern Family. What's her name? Is Sarah Hyland or something?
Oh, I'll have to look that up. No.
She's very pretty, and she's got these big, pretty eyes and the dark hair. And he was like, oh, yeah. So that's fun. Okay, well, you guys, everyone watching, don't go anywhere. We're going to come right back with Miss Gina, and we've got more to talk about. Short commercial break. We're going to come back at the end of the show and announce the two winners, because we have two winner chicken dinners. And we have a lot more to talk about with Gina. So don't go away, guys.
Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our third year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching the Tasty Pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
All right, we're back on. Hope you guys had a short little break there. Grab some water or your choice of fuel, and maybe made a bathroom run, or maybe you went and did a bunch of walking lunges. I don't know.
Maybe. Or got in your squats.
Yeah, it's got in your squats, exactly. So I just want to kind of go through some of the comments here. John Butler's good to see you again. Thanks for joining. I was telling Gina about you. Mr. John Butler is a Muscle Mag photographer. He worked for Muscle Mag for years back in the good old days. So thank you for jumping on. Hi, Kevin. Kevin's down in Houston. And hi, Sarah Lyons. Sarah is the owner of Picture Groove Photography and BodyScape Magazine, and also we run the Epic Destination shoots together. So she is one of the top photographers in the world, and I just love her dearly. She's so good. I'm just seeing if there's any, if you guys have any questions, please jump on. And Veronica says she's reading the book, Love Languages. Love Languages. Yes, that's great. Veronica, if you're still on, that's good to hear. I love it. Dave Manfra. Gina had great in-home workouts. Do you know who that is?
Who is it?
Dave Manfra, Manfra. Hi, Dave, if you're still on. He did ask a while back if your husband competed, so he must not have heard, yes, that your husband did, or your dad. Or maybe he was asking about your husband. Did Mike's never competed, right?
No, that'd be the day.
Come on stage. And Dave also is saying he remembered your great conditioning on the Olympia stage, and he says you still look shredded. That's awesome.
I think it's a good comment, because it's interesting how you can completely change your training. And we didn't even talk about cardio, but now I pretty much, when I have a choice, do 95% of my cardios in the pool. I swim now. And so it's like, completely changed my training. So it's interesting, but yet you can still achieve that level.
Right. Do you have a pool at home that you can swim like what you need?
No, the city pool, and it just opened up 2 weeks ago. I'm so happy.
Oh my! So you actually go and swim for a purpose.
Yes.
Not just
flutter
kick around. What stroke do you do, and how? Like, what is your kind of
my routine?
Swim
so
routine?
I actually do flutter kick around. I kickboard, believe it or not. So when I was pregnant, it was for my leg conditioning, because remember, we're talking about how I've always had those powerful legs. Yes. And I couldn't run, and I was running to keep the legs where I like them. And so I went to the pool and I just got a kickboard, and I became addicted and obsessed and just love the kickboard. So I go hard, and I kickboard. I do like kind of steady state for about 30 minutes. And then I end with some sort of sprint work, whether it's Tabata or whatever's, feels fun in that moment.
You mean in the pool?
In the pool. Yeah. It's just it's all kickboard. So it's all lower body.
Awesome. Now, when you hold the board, do you hold it out in front of you where your arms are more straight, or do you hold it underneath your chest?
No, arms are straight out in front. It's all legs.
How do you keep your body up?
I say it's all legs, but it's actually a lot of core too. So a lot of core stability there. And then talk about the glutes, the hip flexors. It's an incredible workout.
So do you have to tuck your hips kind of down and your glutes kind of underneath you to help keep your core up? like, because I've done this before and it's been a long time and no one's ever really coached me on how to do that. But I remember like trying to hold the board out there, your arms straight, and trying to keep your body from sinking. Is that just?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of just pulling in your pelvis. I'm like, as you were talking, I'm kind of walking through it to be able to explain it. But yeah, it's just like, it's good posture, arms are out and it's just holding in the core, and then you're kind of rotating that pelvis so that you keep the lower body afloat.
See, now if I ever go back to swimming, I'm going to know about that.
Oh, it's a good one.
I had a coach out in California that I worked with the whole 10 years that I lived out there, on and off. And sometimes he'd have me on the track and sometimes he'd have me in a pool, more often on the track than the pool, because I always complained about the pool because I didn't like it. But he would have me, he put the little sprint kind of thing around my rib cage. It was like a little bitty life belt, I guess, and it would help kind of keep me up, but it wouldn't do a whole lot, but just enough. And he'd have me sprint, like sprint movement in the deep water where I couldn't stand. And he would have, and it had like a little tie on it, so it would, he would hold me so I couldn't go anywhere. And then he could just pull me back to the side after I was done. He could just pull me back to the side of the pool, and I could, rest hanging on to the end of the pool. But he'd have me do those sprint workouts if we couldn't get to the track, or sometimes he's like, let's just do something different. I was like, oh man.
I see people doing that. It's such a great it's low to no impact, so it's such a great way to still get the cardio up and conditioning without the impact, which is what I'm all about these days.
Oh yeah, well, it preserves the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so tell us about the squat challenge and how can people get involved in that, or is it too late? Or
so we're on day 17, I believe. Gosh, you lose track. But basically, it's 95 days. Every day of summer, you're squatting. So while we're in the middle of the challenge, I would never tell somebody you can't start squatting. Of course not. But it is something to think about for next year to start on the day the first day of summer is when we start, and we do 100 squats every day of summer. And it sounds like a lot, but it's actually very realistic because you can do them however you want. You can do 10 times a day. You can do 4 sets of 25. And, every year I've done it, this is the 6th year, it's gotten bigger, and it's just such a powerful challenge because it really reignites that fire in people. And so now just even today, just seeing, the posts are crazy. There's over 4,000 people all over the world, and it just grows and grows, all ages, walks of life, and people having fun using their kit, whatever they have in their house to do goblet squats. So it's just such a fun time of year where we all just kind of vibe off each other, and the energy is infectious and the results are phenomenal. So you can always join now, but definitely set the alarm for next summer so you can join from the start. Because after 95 days, it's like that when you get on stage and you've done everything to get there, that feeling is incredible. And that's the same feeling that you get through this challenge.
So how can people find the challenge? Is it on Facebook or just your app, or where is that?
Yeah, so I have 95 variations in my app, but basically if you go to my website, you'll get a pop-up, just enter your email and you can still join even though you're coming in a little bit later. Or anywhere on social media right now, you're going to see me or other people squatting their little heart out.
Do you post every day your squats?
I try to post as much as I can, or I post from other people. But, if a day goes by that I don't get them, if I don't post, then I don't worry about it. But you might see my daughter squatting. But every day in the app, I've put a video explaining exactly the squat variation that we're doing, proper form, and everything's in there.
Awesome. That sounds fun. I like it.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
I like it. When you're right, 100 squats, because you can break it up, right? You could do 5, 5, 5, 5, and until you get there, or 10, 10, 10, 10, or whatever the case, right? So
yeah, it's one of those things where there's really no excuse, because anyone, anywhere, break them any level. Like I could not come. I asked this before the challenge started. I said, can anybody, I really am looking for an excuse why somebody could not do this challenge, and nobody could come up with one.
I love it. That's great. I love how you're investing in other people and you're really trying to connect and be creative. And what was the other C? Was collective?
Yep. Creativity, connection, and collective. We're all in it together.
So you just demonstrated that with your squat challenge. That's really, really cool. Frankie here says, I love doing squat leaps in the pool, the resistance of the water and the low impact on the knees. That's awesome, Frankie. Squat leaps. Have you tried those, Gina?
So today was jump squats, leaping side to side, but not in the water. But I know a lot of people are doing pool squats. So it is a great low impact way to do them.
Now I'm gonna have to tell my husband go ahead and put that pool in the backyard. So that sounds like fun. I could handle that. He's been wanting to do that for a while. I'm like, no, we don't have a big enough yard. But now I'm like, hey, let's get that pool in there. It's another way of working out. Okay, so here another question from Michelle Vela. I hope I'm saying your name right, Michelle. Can a woman get as shredded as you, Gina, without the foundation of heavy weight training like she had before? I guess,
well,
yeah. So meaning like the size of your muscles, but before, because obviously, we can stay leaner when we have more muscle. So can you answer that?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I mean, I definitely think I have the foundation, but I do think that you can still, she said get shredded. I think you can get shredded without lifting heavy weights, and I'm proof of that now. But, I've lost a lot of muscle on purpose since competing because I wanted to bring down the body. And everything that I've done now is all, like I said, 8 to 10 pound weight. So I absolutely do think you can. And I kind of started from scratch because I lost all that muscle that I had built during those times because I was lifting 40, 45 with a spot, only a few reps, and I was never super strong. But I absolutely do think you can, because while I had the foundation, I kind of lost the foundation, like I said, on purpose, running my heart out. And now I am where I am doing only the lighter weight, full body, for the most part, workouts.
But like you said, you've been very consistent for many, many years. And I think that's what people forget. And so do you have this? Because I know for myself, doing lifestyle coaching, and I have a lot of different women come to me, they say, so I want to have the look of a competitor, but I don't necessarily want to get on stage. And I'm always like, I cringe at that, only because if someone's never been on stage and they want to try to they don't know how hard it is to get that look that they're thinking, number one. And it's really hard if you don't have a goal. And you and I both have had, years of being on stage. We know what it takes to get there. We know what it takes to be maintaining our place now and keeping ourselves in a good place. But we've had all of those years of that structure and knowing what that it looks like. And for someone, how do you talk to people? Because I find sometimes it's a little, I get a little disheartened about that, because I'm like, man, it just, people don't understand. It's really hard to describe how hard it is to be on that stage and look that way. And it's very precise.
Yeah, as my career has evolved and my business, I used to do a lot of competitor diets and training, but now it's really just organically shifted into more lifestyle. So I don't really have that conversation that often anymore. It's kind of nice. It's all about just being healthy and balanced and being able to eat pizza and enjoy life and still feel good in your jeans. But my training style is much different, where I coach from the foundation to allow people to stay consistent, because you can kill yourselves. And I think we all know those people that kill themselves and then fall off, and then it's like this yo-yo. So I really practice what I preach, and I really just help people to find, to build that consistency. And that comes from building a solid foundation of what your non-negotiables are, and giving people the tools so that they can stay consistent, because I do believe consistency needs to be my middle name. It is all about the small things you do on a daily basis that lead to massive results. And, Robert Collier's quote is my favorite: success is the sum of the small efforts we do day in and day out. And while it looks like, I love walking down the street and people, are like, oh, how much do you lift? And it's like, I really don't do that much, especially compared to what I used to. But I'm consistent. I'm very consistent. And, but it's not forced consistency. It's flow consistency. I love what I do. And it's finding what you love and what you can stay consistent with. And that's where the results will come.
I like that flow consistency. That's really sounds good. I like that. Well, so and I only get that every once in a while. I find that, there are certain people that come to me, okay, I want to look like that, but I don't want to get on stage. And I'm like, okay, let's just reel it back. But then what about the ones that come to you and say, and I'm sure you get these, you've got it. And maybe because of my age, because I'm almost 20 years older than you. So maybe I have a different age bracket that come to me asking about getting healthier, losing the COVID body. But they say, I still want to be able to drink. I want to have my wine every night. And I still want to, so it's like, do you have that? Is maybe your age bracket a little different than mine? Maybe because I've got these 50 and 60-year-old women that are coming, and maybe some in their 40s, but they don't want to give up those things, which can make a huge difference.
That's exactly right. I was going to say, rather than people coming to me saying, I want to reach these goals to step on stage, it's more like, I want to reach these goals, but I'm not willing to do what it takes. Meaning I'm not willing to give up my chocolate. I'm not willing to give up my wine. And trust me, I'm all about balance. I like to have my food. I like to have my drinks, but it's all about balance. So yeah, it is interesting. Those people that they want this, but they're not willing to do what it takes. But one of my favorite things to do is to take what people love and feel like they can't live without, and to be able to help them get, like, if your mac and cheese is your thing, how can we make it a healthy mac and cheese that you won't even know the difference? Or coming up with ways that they can still have those vices, or learn how to incorporate those things that they feel like they can't live without into their day, so they never feel like they're dieting. And then that leads to consistency, which leads to reaching those goals.
Absolutely. That's so fun. I think you've got great information for everybody. Let's talk a little bit about your app and what all is available on your app.
Yeah, so it's all home workouts, and I have it by category. So there's some that are specific to body part specific, for example, shoulders. There's times like this month we're really focusing on shoulders, so you might see me doing more isolated work. And then a lot of G-Fit circuits, which are all full body circuits. So there's the part of the app that has all of the different workouts, a library of them. And then every month I put together a fun calendar, so you'll know exactly what to do. So I take the guesswork out of it and put together the workouts based on what we're doing. But there's so much more to the app. Tons of recipes that fall in line with all of my meal plans, how to eat for purpose so that you can still eat the things that you love. And then there's a huge section on mindset. So every Monday there's a mantra. It's an audio mantra that basically it's things that help me get through the day, the weeks, things that help me stay consistent, all these different tools that really help for a well-balanced app to help you stay on track. It's not just workouts, but it's all the pieces of the puzzle that you need. And then there's more to it, but the last thing I'll leave with is that we have a private Facebook group page. So it's really deep, authentic, real connections. And every Thursday we do a live just like this, where it's, any questions that you have, I share recipes, we cook, we have fun, we share. And it's just a great way to stay connected with like-minded people.
I love it. That's great. Is the app, is there a charge for the app? Is it free? How do you work that out?
It's $19.99, which is a killer deal for everything that's included. If I only think back on what I used to charge as a trainer, but anyways.
Right.
But there is a 7-day free trial, so you can try it out and try the entire app. And if it's not for you, then it's not for you, but it's definitely worth trying it out and getting in some good workouts.
Okay. And then they can find that on your website?
Yes.
And your website, GinaAliotti.com?
Correct. That's right.
And I said your last name correctly. Yay.
You did, yes.
I love it. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit, and then we're going to have to start wrapping this puppy up because we're at an hour, if you can believe it, after all the shuffling of the issues in the beginning. But I want to talk a little bit about you being an NPC judge and what that was like for you, because I'm sure there's some people that are interested about that. And, how was that as a judge? How was that for you moving into competition?
Oh, yeah, that was a phenomenal experience, because seeing it from a judge's standpoint was a whole different perspective than from a competitor standpoint. You really get to see what they're judging on and what actually pops out. And you had brought this up earlier, a physique, somebody who's maybe not as conditioned, but has that elegance or that X factor or that confidence on stage, hands down would win over somebody who's got a rockin' body but just doesn't hold themselves well. And you can see that confidence. And I really think that that's what separates a winner from a non-winner. I
know you don't ever want to call someone a loser, right?
Right. Like, okay, what's another word for this? But yeah, that it really does separate.
First and second, yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly. First and second is like if you have that X factor and it comes from that confidence, and it's like, that's why people think, oh, you have to look a certain way to be on stage and to win. And there's just so much deeper work that makes you shine and show up on that stage. a completely different person. So as a judge, I was able to really see that. It also helped with my coaching when I was working with competitors. And I'm really forever grateful for John Lindsay, who got me into that and allowed me to be a coach I was 19. No, I wasn't 19. I was like 20. I was 20 and I was judging, and I just have some of the best experiences. So I'm forever grateful for that opportunity from John Lindsay and getting to know the panel and Tamer and Marlene and all of the judges that still judge to this day.
Well, there's such a what is the word I'm looking for? But to be a judge and then to be a competitor and to have that insight on the judge's side of things and seeing things from the floor up, basically, as opposed to side by side, because sometimes a competitor, if they never sit in the judge's seat looking up at everybody side by side, you don't see what the judges can see sometimes. And it's kind of funny because in 2003, I placed second at the Arnold for the first pro figure competition and figure international. And I remember they had a big conversation about my shoes that I had on, and that was one of the reasons I didn't win. And it was a platform shoe, which I didn't think anything of it. It was a beautiful little shoe, but it had a platform. It was right when platforms were kind of coming out, and it was a bigger platform. And they said that it messed up my whole leg of, vision of the leg. And I'm like, what the heck? It's a shoe. But when you look down as a competitor, it looks different than, the judge looking up from the floor. So it's just kind of interesting, how things are so different between where you're sitting and the view.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Monica. I mean, it really helped me, like I said, as a competitor, but also in my coaching. I mean, everything from the daintiness of your fingers to, something that does sound so silly, like exactly that. You're probably like, really, my shoes? I can see it because the blockiness just throws off your symmetry. So it's all about those fine details.
But then the crazy thing is, they couldn't get people to quit wearing the platform, so the platforms just went nuts. They ended up having to deal with it after all. But
right,
kind of went nuts anyways.
Hey, it's hard to be the first at everything. The first one.
I know, fun stuff though. It's makes for good stories. So I want to just give a shout out. We've got Anna Fraser on from Australia. Hi, Anna.
Yay.
Yeah, Anna came to one of my fem camps a few years back. I'll say a few years. 10 or 11, 9 or 11. I don't remember. It was one of the years I was there doing fem camps, but she's been doing some of my Zoom body weight sessions. So it's fun to have her.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And then we've got, and I might have messed this name up. I'm so sorry. It looks like from India. And I say he, I think Gabbar. So hi to India. If I've said your name incorrectly, I'm so sorry. Jennifer says, G-Fit girl right here. Love this program. Shout out for you,
My
Gina.
girl. Hi, Jennifer.
And Michelle says, best app I've found. Yay.
I love it.
And hi, Gerardo. And hi to Joey. All right, you guys, I think we're going to have to, and Philip Jackson, he says, to get the best results, you have to sacrifice. And that is no doubt. No doubt. We have to sacrifice a lot of things. And that's kind of rolling back to one of the first questions we had, just talking about how to get your spouse to, be on board and to support and all of that. So, okay. So I am going to come up with our winner chicken dinners. So Miss Janet Carroll was our first winner for Egg White International. She came up with the answer for 2008, which was the year you won the Figure International at the Arnold Classic. So
I'm gonna pull a Monica. Hold on, Monica.
Okay. What we got? What we got? So Janet, you won Egg White International, and you get a half gallon of the liquid egg whites, which I can't wait for you to get those. And Janet, I also need to get your email address so I can send you the email, and then also you'll be able to choose a really cute clothing item from Egg White International. So we need to get in touch with you, Janet, by email. And then our second winner for your G-Fit app is Jessica Futrell.
Yes.
So she came up with G-Fit first.
Good.
Yay.
Girl.
Yeah, and then Jessica's winning the legendary foods, yummy pastries and nut butters and seasoned almonds, and oh my gosh, those things are so good. So I can't wait to give you guys the goodies. So you had to take off, Gina. What'd you have to take? Did you have to get something, or were you?
I was gonna show you that I have now you're inspiring me to put up my Arnold picture, and I thought it was right here and it's not there. That's pretty bad. But you're inspiring me to like put up on my wall that moment because it was special. Yeah. I don't know where it is.
It is very special, and you should have it up. Look, okay, so for years, all of my stuff has been in boxes, and we moved into this house. Now it's been 2.5 years, and literally February of this year, maybe there's your picture.
There it is. That's the exact one I was looking for.
Yes, there you are, pretty girl, with Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator.
Yeah.
Yes, there you are. So yeah, my covers, everything has been in boxes for years, and we moved into this house. We built this office with shelving and everything. And then I had a massage therapist here at the house, and she's like, why don't you have your cover out? I had my newest cover, which is BodyScape Magazine. It came out in January. And can you grab it for me over there? I think there's one over there. And I had it laying out in the, here it is. I had it laying out.
Oh, so pretty. So cool.
In the living room. Thank you. This is Sarah Lyons. Yeah, it's a really nice magazine. But anyways, I had it out there, and she's like, well, why don't you have it framed? I'd have all my covers framed. And I said, well, I just hadn't thought about it. Anyways, she inspired me to go and have some of my covers put up. And then my husband did my medals here for me, which, you can't see all of them, but it's okay. And there you are.
I almost hate admitting to this, but it just goes to show like where my heart's at. When I was helping people get ready for shows, I gave my medals to them as like gifts. And now luckily I know who they are and they're willing to give them back to me. And I'm being an Indian giver. But now that I have kids, I'm like, I kind of want those medals back. I think they're really important.
They are,
Gina. Are in my heart. But yeah, I'm on the hunt for those.
Well, you should have a little space. And, it's not like I sit here and ooh and all over this stuff, and doesn't define me. But I'll tell you, sometimes coming in here wanting to get some work done and just, it's inspiring, and it's fun to look back and reminisce about things and just to have those moments that were big for us at that moment. That was the biggest thing in our world, right? It's not just, and it's not just everybody has those moments. So there's no reason you shouldn't have some of that stuff up for yourself in a place that is special for you and your family. I'm sure your kids would be so excited to see that too.
Yeah, no, you inspired me even with the video montage coming in with all your stuff. It's just so cool. Just such great memories. And I'm so big on celebrating your success. So many of us, a lot of us just like put it aside, but you really have to. It helps you moving forward to to know what you've done and to be able to inspire others. So yeah, it's such an important part.
I agree. We're not supposed to dwell on our past, but we're supposed to at least celebrate and be inspired to continue. So thank you for that, Gina. And I guess we need to kind of shut down now. As much as I hate to, I could keep talking for a long time, but I'm going to let everybody off the hook, go back to their lives. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you, Gina, for making time for the Monica Brant Show and coming on here and bringing your fans and the people that come on and visit. And I just really appreciate your time. In a time that time is very precious, we don't get it back. So thank you for making this time on here, and I can't wait to catch up with you again.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Monica. It was such an honor, and now you're gonna make me get teary-eyed, but you just made an impact. So I love you.
Oh, well, you are a legendary icon who's really helped us establish this industry yourself, and that's why I wanted you on here. And every time I've seen any of your posts, girl, you're doing something that you're investing in people's lives, even though you're a mom and you're a wife. Like, I just see what you're doing for others, and I want those kind of people on here to just share and to give back. And you inspire me too. And you're just beautiful. So I really am thankful to have you on here. And I know the fans checking this out here live, and also the ones that will come on later to watch at another time will be really inspired by you too. So thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing, girl. And
you too.
And God bless you and your family in this time of uncertainty. Keep him close, and go check out those scriptures, Hebrews 10, 23, 24, 25. And keep sharing the book.
Yes.
5 Basic Love Languages. So I wanted to just say thank you to all of our fans that have come on here and said spent this time with us. We really appreciate you guys joining and all your comments. I'll have to go back on later and just say hi to everyone personally. I like to do that after the shows as best I can. Oh, look at Jenny's on. I don't know if she's been on this whole time, but hi, Jenny.
Oh, I just chatted with her the other day. Hi, Jenny.
That's awesome. We'll have to have her on here too. Jessica says, great interview. Thank you, Jessica. And Sandra, thanks, Jenny, for all you do. That's sweet. Thank you, John, for joining us as well. You guys have a great night. And check out GinaAliotti.com. I get it right?
Yes, you got it.
And then what social media are you on, just for everyone to know?
Instagram and Facebook. I'm on both, but I Facebook has my heart. But I'm on both. Okay, sweetie. I'm excited. We'll keep in touch, and you guys, just so you know that you can join Gina there, and I'm also doing live via Zoom body weight only workouts as well. Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings. So if you're interested in those, DM me and I'll get you signed up for those. But yeah, all body weight. So no equipment needed, just like Gina at home in your own place. Love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Maybe Gina, one time you'll come on as one of my guests and join
that would be
me
fun. I would love to.
Awesome. I'd love to have you on.
We'll do those L sits with no weight.
Yes, exactly. Oh yes. I've been having fun. I've been doing these since March now, these workouts. And I just love it because when I've gone back to the weights now, I just feel so much stronger from doing all this body weight stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good. So, okay. Well, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. Thank you to our sponsors for your support, because we couldn't do the show without you guys. You guys have a blessed rest of your week. Until next week, we have another special guest on next week, same time, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central. I promise we won't have, can't promise that, right? We'll do our best not to have any kind of technical difficulties. Right. All right, guys. God bless you. Stay fit. Stay fit. Love life. Bye, everybody. Bye, Gina.
Bye.
This has been a Kona Cam production. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.